Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari to confer GCFR, GCON titles on Tinubu Shetima. Senate accuses NECO of illegally awarding 6.5 billion naira contracts to print materials. Plus, Ukrainian troops brace for long-awaited counteroffensive. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First in the news tonight is a report that President Muhammad Buhari will, on Thursday, May 25, confer national honors on President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima. They both will be conferred with the national honors of Grand Commander of the Federal Republic GCFR and Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger GCON. This is according to a brief statement shared via Twitter by the President's Special Assistant on Digital and New Media, Tolu Ogunlesi. According to Ogunlesi, on the same day, there will be an official handover of transition documents to the incoming administration. In his view, this process will be the most organized and seamless presidential transition in the history of Nigeria, enabled by Executive Order 14, signed by President Buhari. Meanwhile, President Buhari has advised the High Commissioner of the United Kingdom, Richard Hugh Montgomery, to uphold the noble standards of diplomacy like his predecessors by respecting the traditional institutions in Nigeria. The President gave the advice today when he received letters of credence from the United Kingdom High Commissioner and his counterpart from the Democratic Republic of Sri Lanka, Velupillai Kannanathan, at the State House. He noted that relations with both countries will be further consolidated with their consideration for local culture, traditional rulers and institutions. According to a statement issued by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the President told the UK High Commissioner how close Nigeria came to having the first female governor in the country, and that participation of women in politics and governance in Nigeria had steadily increased over the years. He further assured that the diplomatic relations spanning many years had been sustained on mutual respect for cultures, assuring that all courtesies will be extended to him to make his stay in Nigeria memorable. In his remarks, Montgomery said the United Kingdom had always held Nigeria and its cultural institutions in high esteem, while relating the best wishes of King Charles III as Nigeria prepares for the handover ceremony on May 29. In the meantime, President Buhari has sought the House of Representatives' approval for $800 million loan to finance the National Social Safety Network program. The request was contained in a letter read by the Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, at the plenary. The President also transmitted to the House the Federal Fire and Rescue Service Establishment Bill 2022 for consideration and approval. Elsewhere, President Buhari has felicitated Sani Gobe Yariman Gobe as he gives out his first daughter in marriage on May 19, 2023. The President's congratulatory message was contained in a statement issued today by his spokesperson, Femi Adesina. According to Adeshina Azamina, Sani Mohammed ties the nuptial knot with Faruku Bala Danjima. The president wishes the young people a happy married life, counseling them to ensure that they remain friends, saying friendship is the bedrock of matrimony. Meanwhile, the wedding will be held at the National Assembly Quarters Central Mosque, Apo Legislative Quarters, Abuja. Away from that, the federal government has reacted to the Nigeria CBN Godwin Emefiele and other top government officials. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said what the governor expressed was his personal opinion, which he has right to. In a letter earlier addressed to the President, Matawale said any officer critical to the take-off of the incoming administration of Bola Tinubu should not be granted any leave. The Zamfara governor accused the CBN governor of superintending over the mismanagement of the country's financial and monetary systems. He insisted that the CBN governor must stay to give an account of everything that happened under him to the incoming administration. Meanwhile, the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Pantami, has inaugurated the National Committee on the Implementation of the National Blockchain Policy for Nigeria. The ceremony, which took place in Abuja, graduated 32,022 Nigerians from the blockchain technology training organized by the federal government to equip citizens with the requisite skills required to drive the policy. Pantami, while inaugurating the committee, explained that the blockchain policy remains one of the emerging technologies at achieving the desired progress in the seventh pillar of the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy for a Digital Nigeria. He added that to implement the seventh pillar, they had to develop policies including policy on artificial intelligence and robotics, which brought about the establishment of the first ever National Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics in Africa, sited in Abuja. In the meantime, the federal government says the Federal Ministry of Aviation has been renamed as the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace of Nigeria. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, made the announcement in Abuja moments after the Federal Executive Council (FEC) meeting. Sirika maintained that the future of aviation had experienced an advancement such that aviation and aerospace were intertwined, and Nigeria had the need to proactively set its policies to align with future occurrence. The minister linked the development to the establishment of the African Aerospace and Aviation University in Abuja.
Federal Ministry of Aviation name has been changed because it is on exclusive list, just like Foreign Affairs Ministry is on exclusive list. There is no Foreign Affairs Ministry of Katsina. So the ministry will be called Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace, Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace of Nigeria. And it's important that we become proactive and set our policies, regulations, and rules to be in tandem with what is obviously coming.
Elsewhere, the federal government has moved to clear the alleged misinformation concerning the implementation of the Nigeria Salmon's Presidential Pie Initiative (PPI) project, stressing that 80% of equipment needed for the pilot project was already available in the country. In a statement by the managing director of FGN Power Company, the Special Purpose Vehicle (SPV) for the execution of the project, Kenny Anuwe, the federal government explained that it remains committed to implementing the game-changing deal. Anuwe explained further that the pilot project remains a quick-win intervention strategy, which will unlock immediate constraints in the Nigerian electricity supply industry (NESI) through the deployment of 10 power transformers and 10 mobile substations across the country. He stressed that both the federal government and Siemens AG, as well as Siemens Energy, have remained unswerving in their commitments to the project. According to him, the project is intended to resolve capacity deficit and securing financing for the entire project implementation. And while the Federal Executive Council FEC has approved $4.713 billion for development of port projects in Lagos, Ondo, and Delta states, the council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House Abuja gave the go-ahead for the development of Ondo multipurpose port in Ilaje, Snake Island in Lagos, and Burutu in Delta state. Briefing newsman after the meeting, Minister of State for Transportation Ademola Adegoroye said the projects would be executed through public-private partnership (PPP) arrangement at no cost to the federal government. According to him, the Ilaje port would cost the private developers over $1 billion and would be concessioned for a period of 50 years, with the accruals to the concessionaire and the federal government expected to be $50 billion and $2.6 billion respectively. Elsewhere, the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Jaji Sambo, has hinted that the newly inaugurated multi-million naira Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA Abuja Zonal Office will oversee the operations of its Lokoja safety base. The Transportation Minister made this known in his keynote address at the inauguration of the new office in Abuja. Sambo noted that due to the strategic role the Abuja Zonal Office plays, it became imperative to establish a permanent station as several limiting factors encumber the current office. He added that the facility will meet exigencies necessary to increase productivity and end the long-term financial implications of paying exorbitant rents, stressing that as a nation at the cusp of an economic renaissance, the role of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency cannot be understated in the delivery of Nigeria's economic potential. In another development, the president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, Dr. Emeka Orji, today said the National Assembly has invited the association for a meeting tomorrow. Recall that resident doctors across 79 tertiary health facilities commenced a 5-day warning strike on Wednesday to press home their demands. The doctors are demanding an immediate increment in the consolidated medical salary structure to the tune of 200% of the current gross salaries of doctors. The doctors also want immediate massive recruitment of clinical staff in the hospitals and immediate withdrawal of the bill seeking to compel medical and dental graduates to render 5-year compulsory services in Nigeria before being granted full licenses to practice. They also want the immediate implementation of CONMES, domestication of the Medical Residency Training Act, and review of hazard allowance by all the state governments, as well as private tertiary health institutions where any form of residency training is done, among others. Moving on now to the Red Chambers, where the Senate has uncovered how the National Examination Council (NECO) illegally awarded 6.5 billion naira contracts for the printing of security materials. The indictment of NECO by the Senate was sequel to the Senator Matthew Urogide, PDP Edo South-led Senate Committee on Public Accounts, which found the examination body wanting, as it failed to appear and defend the allegations raised in the report of the Auditor General of the Federation. According to NECO, in a written response, the contract was awarded through selective tendering, which was done to avoid leakage of examination questions. But the committee observed that the council did not follow due process in the award of the contract. Meanwhile, the Senate has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to release the $717,478,606 airlines funds trapped in the country. The Red Chamber also called on the CBN to allocate $25 million to airlines operating in Nigeria at its dollar auction. These resolutions were sequel to the consideration and adoption of a motion sponsored by Ekiti South PDP Senator and Chairman of the Senate Committee on Aviation, Biodun Olujimi. The Senate also called on the federal government to urgently reverse the current trend of increasing airlines' blocked funds in Nigeria, as well as direct the CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele to pay up the blocked funds to the affected airlines. To electoral matters now, where the Presidential Election Petition Court has been asked to dismiss in its entirety a petition filed by the Allied People's Movement (APM) challenging the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the All Progressives Congress (APC) as winners of the February 25, 2023 presidential election. Tinubu, who was declared winner of the poll, and the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), which conducted the election, told the court today in Abuja that the petition was grossly incompetent, has no focus, and lacked legal direction. INEC, which first launched an attack against the competence of the petition, insisted that the petition failed to disclose any reasonable course of action. At today's proceedings, INEC's lawyer Abubakar Mahmood San hinted that the only focus of the petition was to waste the court's precious time.
We are happy that our motion for televising of the proceedings has been taken today and ruling has been reserved. So that's a major accomplishment for today.
In a related development, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has told the Presidential Election Petition Court televised. Ozoku, counsel to Obi and LP, disclosed this to newsmen after the pre-hearing session that INEC has reportedly opposed their application for a live broadcast. He added that a public institution funded by the government and representing the people should allow the people access to its proceedings if there is nothing to hide. Recall that the Labour Party filed a petition challenging the victory of the candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC), Bola Tinubu, in the 2023 general election. In another development, the United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed has charged state governors in Nigeria to deliver on their campaign promises before leaving office. Mohammed gave the charge at the 2023 Nigeria Governors Forum induction for new and returning state governors held in Abuja. In a statement, Mohammed said that under the Constitution of Nigeria, state governors have the authority and the responsibility to deliver on critical foundations of infrastructure and basic services leading to social and economic development. The UN Deputy Secretary General highlighted 4 common areas where action and attention are urgently needed. First, he said you'll need institutional capacity, trusted partnerships, financing, the means of implementation, and leadership. Back here, Kosam Global Hotel and Suites, located at number 42 Unveils Street, Back Road, Federal Housing, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, has held the official launching of the hotel complex. Speaking during the event, the management of the hotel, who noted that the hotel is a top-notch facility with world-class service, urged the Akwa Ibom community, Nigerians as well as foreigners, to make Kosam Hotel and Suites their destination of choice. A correspondent has the details.
Hospitality outfits Kosam Global Hotel and Suites, located at number 42 Unveils Street, Back Road, Federal Housing, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, has held the official launching of the hotel complex with the promise to offer world-class services to the people. In her welcome address, the CEO of Kosam Global Hotel and Suites, Comfort Ekpeyong, who appreciated God for making the day a reality, also thanked the people who graced the occasion and the village head of Iboko, Eteidong, Udeme, Usanga, as well as members of the community for ensuring that peace thrive in the community. Ekpeyong further used the opportunity to encourage people in diaspora to invest in their state in a way of giving back to the society so as to create more employment opportunities for youth in the state and country at large. She urged the people to patronize Global Hotel and Suites as it is poised to offer premium quality care and well-deserved service and value to the people.
Let me thank the wonderful chairman of this occasion, Prof. Antiabon Ekong, on today's grand opening and doing us the honor of opening this place officially to the public. You have stood by us, sir, and we will not hesitate to reciprocate this gesture. To the village head of Iboko of Fort, Etidong Udemusana, the father of the day of this event. We are grateful, sir, for the privilege of having this facility in your community. This community has hosted us very well. You have ensured that this community is peaceful and that not even one day have we had security threats in this facility. We thank you immensely, and we will ensure that our operations in this community advance it and not destroy it in any way. To my people in diaspora, Kosam Global Hotel and Suite should give you the needed impetus to come back and also make your presence felt. Akwa Ibom State is progressing and rapidly, and in any investment here will yield returns. This facility has already begun to contribute to Akwa Ibom State economy, with over 30 people already employed in this first phase, and more than 20 people already in our value chain of vendors and suppliers. We can say that we have begun the journey to build a global brand. This place is a one-stop, one-bar lounge is open to everyone, even when you are not lodging here.
Earlier in his opening remarks, the chairman of the occasion, Professor Ntia Obong Okon, who commended the CEO for such a laudable investment, said the facility will be of immense benefit to the people, while also creating a wide range of employment opportunities for job seekers.
I do appreciate the proprietor and the management board of Kosam Global Hotel and Suites. The benefits of facilities of this nature to the immediate community, the local government, the states, and the entire nation cannot be overstressed in terms of one provision of employment for job seekers, which I know they have already done that, and it will continue as it continues to expand.
Setting the tone for the event, the chairman of the project management team, Anyekan Udofia, and the general manager of Kosam Global Hotel and Suites, Anthony Johnny, while commending the team for their commitment to the realization of the project, enumerated some of the features of the facility to include a green bar, fully air-conditioned 18 rooms, restaurants, lounge, uninterrupted power supply and internet facility, and a conference hall with a seating capacity of over 50 persons, amongst other laudable features.
We stood and made a case for Nigerians that there are trustworthy Nigerians that can be given responsibility. This men stood, and I'm sure that today, when Mrs. Comfort Ekweyon goes back to the US, she can tell them that I have a team you can trust. That no matter the magnitude, we saw millions. We saw it in naira, we saw it in dollars. We didn't run mad. We just knew that we had to protect our name, and we were able to do this. This facility is state of the art. It has American standard. It has all the states in America that you can talk of. When it comes to the new phase of relaxation, Kosam Global Hotel Suite can provide that for you.
In Kosam Global Hotel and Suite, we have the passion for creating exceptional guest experiences that leaves a positive and lasting impression on our guests. When we talk of Kosam Global Hotel, we talk of easy access road. As you can see, you can access Kosam Global Hotel and Suite from Abak Road here. You can also access from Akar Road. You can also access from IBB. We have a serene and conducive environment with maximum security protection, and tastefully furnished rooms with free internet facility and 24 hours room service.
High point of the event was the official cutting of the tape and unveiling of the hotel's signage.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization today celebrated World AIDS Vaccine Day, as Global Health Day is marked May 28 every year. The day seeks to educate people and communities about the importance and need for HIV vaccine in preventing AIDS and HIV infections. The day also recognizes professionals who are working together in development of vaccine against AIDS. According to infectious disease specialist Dr. Onukak, who spoke to Spectrum Television, there was no vaccine against HIV infections and to treat those who have it.
AIDS Vaccine Day is observed on May 18th every year to educate people and communities about the importance and need for HIV vaccine in preventing AIDS and other infections. The day also recognizes professionals who are working together for the development of the vaccine against AIDS. Although there's no known cure for AIDS, but multiple research are still going on to develop a vaccine for it. About 75 million people across the globe are known to have been infected by AIDS. Spectrum Television spoke to Dr. Onukak, an infectious disease specialist in the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, who told us about AIDS, its treatment, the stigma attached to those living with AIDS, and offered a wake-up call to the general public.
AIDS is an extreme form of HIV infection. So HIV, means human immunodeficiency virus. So when a person is infected with the human immunodeficiency virus, he comes down with HIV infection. Now, if the infection is not detected early, or the individual detects it early and refuses to take medications from it, over time, sometimes over a couple of years, he can now tend to go into AIDS. AIDS now means acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So what the virus does is that it attacks your immunity. So it attacks your immune system. The immune system is the system of the body that helps the body to fight against infections. So if the virus keeps attacking your system and then that effect is not being countered by medications, the AIDS is a level whereby your immune system is so depleted that any infection that the body normally would have been able to handle, the individual comes down with it. For now, there's no cure. Research is still ongoing to find a cure for the HIV infection, but there are medications with which it can be managed. Stigma is a major problem. Stigma is a major problem, and the challenge with it is that it's the reason why, like I told you earlier, people don't even want to know their status. They get scared of even coming to be screened, to even know whether they have the infection with them or not. And then those that now have the infection, stigma is part of the reasons why they won't even want to go and access care for it. But my advice to people that are living with the HIV infection is for them to continue with their medications.
World AIDS Visit.
Still to come in the news.
People.
U.S. jobless claims fall more than expected. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now to Africa, where Kenyan President William Ruto has called out the two warring Sudanese generals, urging them to stop the fighting that has entered its second month. The Kenyan leader, who has been tasked by a regional bloc, IGAD, together with other heads to help in reconciling Sudan's rival sides, said military capacity was for battling criminals and terrorists and not for fighting children and women. Ruto, however, blamed African states for lacking the capacity to stop the war in Sudan, accusing that the peace and security of Sudan is funded by others. Reports say that intense battles in the capital Khartoum and the cities of Bari and Omdurman have raged despite Saudi and US brokered talks between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF in Jeddah, aimed at securing humanitarian access and a ceasefire. Still in Africa, almost 250,000 people in central Somalia have had to flee their homes after a river flooded the town of Beledweyne. According to Hishabeli State Interior Minister Abdirahman Gure, people have to shelter under trees after the Shabelle River burst its banks, meaning 99% of those living in the town and surrounding areas are now homeless. Meanwhile, the UN is warning that the flood waters could also hit Bulo Burde town, some 110 kilometers away. Climate change is believed to have played a large role, according to Somali government officials. Heavy downpours in Somalia and upstream in the Ethiopian highlands triggered flash floods that washed away homes, crops, and livestock. Meanwhile, 4 people have been arrested in Tunisia in connection with an attack outside a synagogue during an annual Jewish pilgrimage. It would be recalled that it happened a week ago on the historic island of Jebba. 6 people died in total. Reports say the gunman was a police officer who killed 3 other officers and 2 Jewish worshippers and later shot dead himself. Meanwhile, Tunisian authorities have not called it a terror attack, but President Kais Saied held a meeting with Muslim, Jewish, and Christian faith leaders today, stressing that Tunisia was a country of tolerance and coexistence. In the meantime, a Tanzanian teen has won the Amal Clooney Women's Empowerment Award in London for her efforts to support girls' education. The annual Prince's Trust Awards recognize young people who have succeeded against the odds, improved their chances in life, and had a positive impact on their local community. Award winner Zamana was recognized after launching her own campaign to support and encourage girls to stay in school in Tanzania. According to reports, through her Allow Me to Study campaign, Zamana focuses on helping schoolgirls and their parents understand the importance of completing their education. On the foreign scene, an indigenous woman in Mexico has been sentenced to 6 years and 2 months in prison for the murder of her alleged rapist. The court acknowledged that the woman, named only as Rosana Ruiz, acted in self-defense when she killed her attacker in 2021, but said she used excessive force. The woman first knocked the man unconscious, then strangled him, and finally tried to dismember his body. She kept the body for at least 20 hours before putting it in a plastic bag on the street. Following the court hearing, Rosanna said she feels sad and disappointed in the justice system. They locked her up for 9 months and gave her a sentence. Meanwhile, Ruiz's attorney said she will be appealing the sentence, which was handed down by Judge Monica Osorio in Mexico next week. Still on the foreign scene, a European Union official has said that the G7 leaders will be meeting in Japan to discuss sanctions on Russia's billion-dollar diamond trade in hopes to further starve Moscow. Institute of Technology. Russia exported almost $5 billion worth of diamonds in 2021. Reports further say G7 countries have levied unprecedented sanctions on Russia over the last year, but have trodden carefully in sectors that could hurt European economies still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, Chinese leader Xi Jinping is reportedly rolling out the red carpet for Central Asian nations this week, as Beijing attempts to expand its reach into a region that has long been regarded as Russia's sphere of influence. Reports say the leaders of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan are gathering in the central Chinese city of Xi'an for a summit that will begin today. According to reports, it is the first in-person meeting of the heads of state together with China since they established diplomatic relations after the fall of the Soviet Union. The 2-day event is also a play from Beijing to expand its influence in Central Asia, where Russia, now distracted by its debilitating and unsuccessful invasion of Ukraine, has long been the dominant great power partner. In the meantime, Ukraine's armed forces are braced for the country's much-touted counteroffensive near the southern front line in Ukraine's Zaporizhia region. An intensive ground assault training program is currently taking place. The time is ticking down and preparations are underway. In the southeastern region of Zaporizhia, some 5,000 troops are being put together through their paces at an intensive ground assault training program. According to reports, if Ukraine's counteroffensive comes here in the south, these fighters will have to breach multiple reinforced lines of defense and trenches. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. We have Blyden Okem standing by.
Thank you, Xavier Roberts. Good evening. It's another business day, and my name is Blyden Okem. In the news, U.S. jobless claims fall more than expected. The number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits fell to 242,000 last week, down from an 18-month high of 264,000 and below market expectations of 254,000. The latest reading indicated the labor market in the U.S. remains relatively tight, providing the Fed with an opportunity to implement further interest rate hikes in its effort to combat inflation, according to reports. In Africa, Ghana's cedi appreciated more than 3% to trade around 10.3 against the US dollar, its highest since January 10th, becoming the world's best performing currency. This surge in value was fueled by the approval of a $3 billion ballot request from the IMF over 3 years in order to revitalize its economy. Ghana is restructuring its debt and took tough economic decisions, including increasing taxes and imposing losses on domestic investors to secure the package from IMF. The Washington-based lender said that the West African economy will receive an immediate disbursement of about $600 million, which will help replenish Ghana's foreign exchange reserves, which have dropped almost 50% from a peak in August 2021. The subsequent $600 million is expected in November, with the remainder disbursed in equal portion of $350 million every 6 months, contingent upon IMF reviews. The currency also has been supported by the surprise policy rate hikes this year. From a Nigerian point of view, the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja and the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano have been concessioned by the federal government of Nigeria for periods of 20 and 30 years respectively. At the same time, the federal government hopes to receive $797.4 million, an equivalent of 368.8 billion naira in taxes and concession fees from Corporation America Airports, who is the concessionaire. The Aviation Minister Hadi Saraki made this known while speaking with State House correspondents on Wednesday after this week's Federal Executive Council meeting. The ministry's decision, according to Saraki, was a step towards further concession rather than privatizing the nation's assets. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 334.23 million shares in 5,350 deals, corresponding to a market value of 5.148 billion naira were traded. Compared with yesterday's trading day, today's data shows 51% decline in volume, 35% decline in turnover, and 20% decline in deals. The benchmark All-Share Index dropped 471.43 basis points to close at 52,109.43 points. The market capitalization dropped to 28.4 trillion naira from 28.6 trillion naira. In aggregate, 115 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 22 gainers and 27 losers. Associated Boss Company led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 44 kobo per share. On the losing side, Academy Press came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 10% at 1 naira 50 kobo per share. Access Holdings recorded the highest volume of 64.7 million traded shares. This is all on business news. Back to Xavier Robert for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Blyden. Still to come in the news. Flying Eagles arrive days ahead of FIFA Under-20 World Cup opener. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. We move on now to health, where the federal government says it has instituted strategic interventions at the tertiary, secondary and primary health care levels to screen at least 80% of the eligible population and placed 80% of patients with hypertension on standard treatment and care. The Minister of Health, Dr. Sahi Hanine, who made this known in Abuja during the commemoration of this year's World Hypertension Day, noted that hypertension is responsible for significant morbidity and mortality in the country. Hanire, who was represented by the Director of Public Health at the Ministry, Dr. Morenike Alex Oko, added that hypertension is the leading cardiovascular disease and it affects low and middle income countries, which accounts for about 80% of the global cardiovascular disease burden. Still in health, the National Primary Health Care Development Agency (NPHCDA) has decried inadequate human resources in the primary health centers, noting that there are only 463 out of 25,843 primary health care PHCS in the country, with the minimum number of required skilled birth attendants. The Executive Director, NPHCDA, Dr. Faisal Shoaib, said this at the official launch of Community-Based Health Research, Innovative Training and Services Program. Faisal stated that there is need to close the gaps in the adequacy and distribution of human resources for health at the PHC level. He added that the intervention will help to increase and retain the quality, adequacy, competency and distribution of a committed multidisciplinary PHC workforce, which includes facility outreach and community-based health workers support. In sports, Nigeria's Flying Eagles have arrived at their base ahead of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup kicking off this weekend. And in Argentina, Ladan Borto's side touched down Mendoza, having spent the last 10 days in Argentina's capital Buenos Aires camping. Nigeria will face debutants Dominican Republic at the Estadio Malvinas Argentina's Mendoza on Sunday before keeping dates with Italy and Brazil on May 24 and 27 respectively. The 2023 Under-20 World Cup will run from May 20 through June 11. So in sports, Lionel Messi is reportedly set to be offered an improved contract offer of £500 million to move to Saudi Arabia. The Argentine superstar is in the process of mulling over his future as he approaches the end of a 2-year deal at Paris Saint-Germain, which he is unlikely to renew after a growing frosty relationship with the club board. Reports say Barcelona, his former club, have been overtly interested in a deal that will see the 7-time Ballon d'Or winner return to the club, but know they face stiff competition from the money-soaked Saudi Arabia. It has, however, also been pointed out by the founder of Mediapro, Jaume Robles, that a retracing of steps to Barcelona remains Messi's Erik ten Hag missing from the list. This was revealed today on their official website, with the United manager conspicuously omitted. On entertainment news now, tributes are pouring in for Zimbabwean jazz musician and producer Kelly Rusike, who died in the capital Harare. He was part of the famous Rusike brothers, who rose to fame in the 80s and 90s with hit songs including Cecilia, Saturday Night, as well as the popular advert Ngwere Were Sadza. In a statement by the family, the Rusike brothers said Kelly died after a long battle with diabetes. According to reports, the veteran musician owned Shed Productions, a major recording production house in Zimbabwe that produced jingles and songs. Meanwhile, social media users described Kelly as one of the best bass guitarists and jazz impresarios in Zimbabwe. Still on entertainment now, the family of late Nollywood star actor Obin Nwafor, popularly known as Santo B, has reacted to the stories making the rounds over the actor's death. In a statement signed by the two elder sisters of the actor on behalf of the family, they stated that some of those stories were false. According to them, the publication by one Zig Zulu Okafor concerning the death of their son, Obin Nwafor, popularly known as Santo B, and the accompanying negative commentary on the social media and other media portraying his widow in an unfair and most defamatory manner were false. They added that it is in no way, shape or form an accurate portrayal of Linda that they know and relate with, while stating that the funeral rites will be communicated to the public in due course. The family said it is a mourning period and asked that their privacy be respected at this time. Meanwhile, a Sabo Yaba Chief Magistrates Court in Lagos State today granted an application for an extension of remand of Afrobeat singer Sean Kuti for additional 4 days. The Chief Magistrate Adeola Olatubosun extended Kuti's remand until May 22. Simon Lau San, who led a police legal team to the court, had moved the application. According to him, the extension is to allow further investigation into the case. Meanwhile, the police charged him with stopping an inspector after driving dangerously on the bridge and deliberately blocking a moving police vehicle. And lastly, on entertainment tonight, Nigerian singer David Adeleke, also known as Davido, has said he and his American counterpart Chris Brown have a joint album in the works. The 30 Billion Gang head Honcho disclosed this while featuring as a guest on the latest episode of the Bootleg Kev podcast. Davido also said if he was to do a collab project or collab album with anyone from the States, it will definitely be Chris. He stated that Chris and himself have got like 10 songs people have not heard and have talked about doing an album. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, wishing you a delightful night rest.